What's up, everybody? Welcome back to yet another episode of the Movie Mob Podcast. We've been reviewing the past few weeks House of the Dragon Season 2. My name is Nick, and joining me today in studio, like every week, is the glorious Arnold Schwarzenegger impersonator, Matt Sampson, looking a little small today, a little down in the dumps.
That's okay, you know.
And live from... You are a little down. What's going on with the
caffeine?
Dude,
I haven't eaten, man. That's really what it is.
What do you mean? You said right before we started rolling, you took caffeine.
I had 2 coffees like this before the gym. And
okay, but it's not like caffeine pills.
Well, I also took gorilla mode.
Oh, jeez.
Which is, I've been taking 2 scoops of gorilla.
Right.
And let me tell you.
What the fuck?
Maybe you read the thing wrong. Maybe it's koala this time.
I'm not going to lie, man. Like, when I walk in the gym, I literally feel like God.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty bad. Like, I'm going up, like, I'm running around, dude. It's pretty fucked.
Oh, you're that guy? You're that?
Oh,
do you watch other people
when I take gorilla, like, I'm just bouncing, man. But then, so it's awesome when I work out, but then after, it's not so good.
And joining us live from Westeros, straight from the Red Keep, the wonderful and extremely talented, personally, a dear friend of mine, someone who I cherish that I have in my life, and I'm very blessed.
It only
and
took
happy.
5 episodes.
Yeah. Straight from the Iron Throne
of this series.
RJ Carreri. RJ, thanks for joining us, buddy.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good to be here.
I'm great. So episode 5, episode 6. Which one? We...
6? Episode 5. No, episode 6.
Episode
Sorry.
6.
I was looking at our old review.
My HBO messes up every now and then, and I end up having the rewatch the old episode, and I go, wait, I already watched this last week.
That happens to me too.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I don't
and
like
it. Says your next episode is whatever, and so I just click it. But
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, episode 6. Last week we were kind of boring. We got a bunch of comments.
Oh, nice.
Eden, thank you for hanging in there and watching every week. It actually does mean a lot, and it helps because we do this to get together and for posterity purposes. But it's nice to have people who
for real.
give a shit and watch every week.
Yeah,
It's nice. We appreciate you and keep commenting, and it really does. It feels like a conversation, which is cool between everybody.
Yeah,
how do we
can
feel?
Address those at the end.
What's that?
Address the comments at the end.
We will. We'll go over the comments at the end because some people were saying some stuff, and RJ pulled it up, and Eden had stuff, and but I was just thanking, appreciating.
Yeah.
RJ, why don't you or Matt tell us more about Gorilla Mode? Are you good?
No, gorilla mode's great, man. It's Let me tell you, if you want to just feel like you're on crack,
next time take the Gorilla Mode before you come into record.
Okay,
right?
Dude,
if
I did, that'd be a crazy.
Save 1 scoop for here.
Yeah, save a scoop.
It fucks up my stomach.
We're gonna start a campaign. We're gonna call it Save a Scoop.
Yeah,
and
save
that's,
a scoop.
And that's what it is. Save a scoop from that.
It's good stuff.
That's good stuff. RJ, why don't you give us a little recap of this episode 6 here? What happened? Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty good.
Listen, I want to preface this by, I don't think we enjoy coming on here and complaining about this show.
Oh, of course not.
I want to come. I miss the days when we came on here and I was excited and all we did was rave about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want people to think that we're shitting on this show for fun, but I genuinely was not happy with this episode.
Oh.
Even last episode, I gave the benefit of the doubt. Like, Nick, I thought you were overreacting a little. But then after this one, I think the best way I could put it is I never go on my phone during these episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on my phone a few times during this episode.
Sure.
Just like, I was bored. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah.
So what happened? Damon's still tripping out. Is it 3 or 4 episodes now?
4, I think.
I mean,
yep.
Because I think this was episode 6. I think it was episode 2 that he got drugged up or whatever, and he's been like that since for 4 episodes straight. A trip for 4 episodes. It's a little crazy to me.
And they keep throwing us like, oh, here's Millie Alcock, and now here's Paddy Constantine as Viserys, and great to see him, but he couldn't save this plot line. I mean, this is. I don't know what they're doing. I really don't.
I don't.
What do you think?
With the plot line,
because I think we started complaining about it after the second time it happened.
Right. Because it's not new.
This is getting crazy because I feel like it's not going anywhere either.
Mm.
Yeah. No, it's been a lot of the same. I'm getting very season 8 vibes.
Sure.
Same.
Not a good thing. You know,
Was season 8 good? No, it wasn't.
I feel like they're just relying on the lore of the dragons. Here's a dragon, you know what I mean? And just kind of stale. And like when shit's not happening, like at least have like interesting dialogue and like interesting scene. Like I feel like really the stuff that's happening between the big moments is not very interesting. There's like this episode off the top of my head, I can think of maybe 2 moments that were like fairly interesting. When the guy got lit up by the dragon, the knight.
Sure.
And then the other one probably when they were attacking Alicent and the other one, like coming out of the church. I think those 2 moments were fairly interesting. Those 2 scenes, I was kind of like, oh, but like other than that, like you said, not really a lot going on here.
Sure, and listen, I was thinking about my reactions because I'm a little bit of a pain in the ass sometimes, and in the moment I don't really realize what I'm saying, and then afterward I'll go back and go, all right, maybe that was a little bit of a ridiculous hot take or whatever. No, I fully agree with myself from last week and every other week.
Yep.
I think the thing, but again, for the purposes, I'm not changing my tune here, but for the purposes of conversation, The Sopranos is probably, it's my favorite series of all time, arguably one of, if not the best series of all time, because it's kicked off a lot of stuff. Like I've said this before, we wouldn't have Breaking Bad without it, whatever. Not every single of the 96 episodes of The Sopranos is this like people getting their kneecaps busted, and like some of the episodes are a little toned down and slow. And I would say, arguably, that some of the you could if you're going to paint with a broad brush, some of the seasons of The Sopranos out of all 7 were pretty. Some of them are toned down overall, and you need those carryover episodes or those carryover seasons if you're telling a more broad story. That's fair. Here's my issue. You don't do it in the second season. So they had this first season. This is, again, I'm a narcissistic prick who thinks he's right all the time, admittedly. So leave a comment down below if you agree or disagree. Please tell me how humble I am if you disagree with me. I'd appreciate that. But I will say that season 1 was these weird time jumpy, it didn't feel like a regular season of television. It made it a little bit newer and more fun. And there was some action, but if you go back and look, it was the time jumps that did a lot of the action, and it kept us interested because, what's going to happen next week? But the episodes themselves weren't overly dramatic or theatrical till, toward the very end. They did get pretty good, and there were a ton of great moments, and I loved the first season. I thought it was great. But as your first season without crazy time jumps, so now we're staying the way that it is, I don't just want consistency. I want something that's going to keep me wanting to come back every week. I already know a lot of these characters. I think they're trying to create this ensemble thing. We're going to get into it when we talk about the comments. You're introducing too many people. There's not a lot of consistency. And the stuff that the writers are eliminating, or the producers or whoever, are eliminating from the book and creating their own stuff to try to circumvent certain things that I don't even know why. They have endless funds. I don't know why they wouldn't make it a 20-episode series, a 20-episode season, and just do it. Just do it. What's the difference?
Writers clearly aren't capable.
Well, this is my point, right? So the issue is, but it's not just the writers, dude. They're doing the best what they can. There are a lot of producers, I'm sure, that are because the producers are the ones that gain the rights to the book to do the stuff, and then they're the ones saying, listen, this is how we're going to allocate funds. This is the way that it's going to go. We need to see more Millie Alcock. I think it's bullshit when they sign actors on for multiple seasons just so they can have flashbacks and keep them in. I think that's dumb. I'm sure that in the book, he sees the young version of Rhaenyra. That's fine. But like, what are we doing? Is this a show about and that's the other thing. And I want you guys' opinion. I don't know who the main characters are anymore. I don't know who I'm supposed to follow because it's so bland and nothing is happening and no one is triumphant. No one is like, to me, even though it's an ensemble cast, there's no like specific main character. You could have every season, you could have like one, like it was clear to me in season 1, you're supposed to follow Rhaenyra's growing up and whatever else. Yes, you follow everybody else, but Rhaenyra and Viserys, that journey, the end of life, that's kind of where we ended up with season 1. Season 2, that's my question, RJ. Right from the Iron Throne, Red Keep, tell me now, who is the main character of season 2?
Couldn't tell you.
Boring.
Honestly, like Aemond,
Maybe.
He seems like he's had like the biggest like arc.
Yep.
He's become like the regent now in Aegon's place. So I guess we can kind of talk about that. That's what's going on in King's Landing. I guess the most development probably happened there, right?
I was gonna say
So
there's a definitive rift between him and Alicent. You know what I mean? He pretty much removed her from things.
Aemond
and then he called in Otto Hightower to be Hand of the King for him, which I think will definitely help this show if he returns.
Yeah.
Well, his presence has been missed too.
We don't have anybody to hate.
You know?
I mean, you can hate, you can dislike characters, you can dislike plot lines, but I genuinely dislike Otto Hightower.
But that's good because he's a good character.
Well, the actor's fantastic.
Yeah,
I'm saying the character, though, we need... You know, like I hated Littlefinger, too.
Yeah, you want characters like that to hate because they come on screen, you know what I mean?
Well, because it shows you who to root for.
Yeah. No, you don't... The worst thing you could have, the worst thing, you just said it a minute ago, is bland. Like, someone comes in, you're like, whatever.
Right, and again...
You want to feel strongly either way.
I only mention The Sopranos, again, because it's my favorite show, but because there are so many episodes and because it's a finished product. The most famous and well-renowned episode of The Sopranos, RJ, what is it? What's the name?
Pine Barrens.
Bingo. And it's the most boring fucking piece of television. If you sit there and you think, if I was pitching this to you and I said, give me X amount of millions to make a show, and you said, okay, well, you know, what's the story about? And I said, it's two guys who get trapped in a van and they sit out in a snowstorm and wait for their buddy to come pick them up. That's it. That's the whole episode. It's the most famous, one of the most well-written. It's a beautiful story, but it's boring is my point. There's not a lot of like craziness that happens in it. They're in the snow. They're in a snow and they freeze in a van and someone comes and picks them up and they lost the Russian guy they were supposed to kill. It's a pretty like kind of bland story in perspective of the show as a whole, in my opinion, for it to be the most famous episode. If you're looking at all the episodes of this, which one is the Pine Barrens? I don't know. They haven't had it yet. Maybe something with Viserys in season 1, but like this is just bland, is what I'm saying. Like there's nothing exciting or tantalizing, and I feel like
a lot of sitting around,
lot of sitting around, a lot of conversations,
a lot of council meetings,
and then they've got the balls to skip over things like the battles. That was my point.
Yeah.
I don't care about the conversation. Send a fucking raven, and in the middle of the battle, you have somebody read the raven's note. That's it.
I love the ravens.
I love the ravens too, but what are we doing with them?
Yeah.
We're not doing anything.
Send the raven. I don't know.
But I don't.
You know what I need, RJ? I need milk of the poppy. That's what I need.
Yeah,
the milk of the poppy. You know?
It's good. It cleans everything out.
Yeah.
I guess so.
It's good stuff.
I think season 1 though, like, proves that action isn't the answer.
Correct.
Because season 1 doesn't have, like you said, a lot of action, but the writing and the drama is so good. The character interactions. And I think definitely they benefited from the time jumps because what they were able to do is kind of hit the greatest hits, you know, which for the book they're adapting is basically what that book is. It's a greatest hits history recap.
Sure.
And I think now that they're expanding it and it's slowing down, they don't know what to do. They don't know how to fill in the blanks well. And like you said, Matt, it reminds me of season 8.
Yeah.
Just like
not great.
Even the end of the episode, like Rhaenyra sending the food and the ships, like it just felt, I got that icky season 8 feeling.
Yeah, I get the season 8 feeling too. And if they're just trying to like stretch it out to be 4 seasons, I mean, I'd be fine with it if it was like 2 or 3 seasons. You know what I mean? If they just like cut the fat and just like shorten the show, but it was like higher quality, you know, whatever they have to do to put the best product out.
Well,
you know?
sure. And that's really what it is about at the end of the day, is putting out the best product you can, because if they cut too much out, then there's plot holes and we're sitting there going, how did that,
there's a number.
How did that happen? You know, but there's definitely a way to go about doing this stuff that it doesn't have to always be battles. It doesn't have to always be dragons. But can it just be like, okay, so Damon's high and he's going through this shit, but like we get it, okay? Like once you get it, you get it.
You
could have done it in one episode.
More than established.
I would even remember I bitched
trip.
about this before, and I think I bitched about it when we were doing the season 1 reviews. At the time, it didn't make sense that they devoted an entire episode to the battle with the Crab King. At the time, when that episode first dropped, I was a little like, what the fuck is that? It was a little out of place, okay? Now, it made sense for the main thing. But even if they devoted an entire episode to Daemon's journey through whatever drugs he's taken, and then we didn't have to mention it again, I'd be fine. If episode 2 was only about Daemon and we never even saw another character, and they just got the bad acid trip out of the way, I'd be okay with it at this point. But like, it's relentless almost, and it's constant, and there's just nothing is. What is he doing? Like, what is he doing at that place?
And it's also not telling us anything new.
Correct.
We know that he envies Rhaenyra. We know that he has regrets about Viserys. Like, we didn't learn anything new about their relationship. What, we saw a scene with him consoling his wife's after the wife's death. Like, it just doesn't feel like it's developing it at all.
Yeah.
So if it's for a shock factor, then like you said, Nick, it could have been one episode.
Well, that's my point, because now it's not shocking.
Yeah.
You know, it's not shocking anymore.
Well, I'm hoping that whole thing comes to a head, because the king just sent, or Aemond just sent Criston Cole to Harrenhal now, right? So that's gotta come to a head next episode, right? Like, there's gonna be some shit going down there.
One would think, especially since we only have 2 episodes left. I will say that Aemond is a great villain. He's a great villain, and he gives me Voldemort vibes. He's very snake-like. He's very creepy. The actor's fantastic. All of the acting, I think, is fantastic, and it's a shame that the show is shit as it is with the quality of actors that are on board, because the acting, Alicent is very good.
Olivia Cooke.
She's amazing.
Yeah, she's great.
But I will give a little bit of credit where credit's due. Aemond had a great line that I loved, and I definitely understood where he was coming from, and it's an incredibly like immature way to be. But when he's frustrated and he's like, he dares summon me.
Yeah, like
I loved that line. I thought he did that. It was like,
yeah, that was early on. Yeah.
He's always felt, and Alicent calls him out at one point and says, like, when she touches his face where his eye's gone, and says like, are you really still harboring this hate or whatever? Are you really still holding this grudge? Those are good moments. I want there to be good episodes, good scenes, and we're talking about, well, there was this little bad moment, few and far between, as opposed to what we are talking about, which is like these few little good drops of good content sprinkled throughout.
I feel like the first half of the season we were like, oh, there was just one bad thing, and now it's shifting.
Yeah, exactly.
But I would say that Aemond, I think, is the MVP of this season so far.
Him and Aegon.
I think he's been the most interesting. I think he's and Aegon too, but obviously now he's in the bed.
Obviously Aegon's probably gonna die. I'm surprised that there's that scene where they're in episode 5 last week where when they first they're removing the armor from his now burnt
that was
body. Gross. And it was gross. It was, but Aemond comes up and puts his hands on the foot of the bed and kind of leans over and watches, and to see how that goes down is going to be extremely interesting. I'm surprised that the king is still alive and that Aemond hasn't snuck in there with a pillow in the middle of the night or something. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I feel like that's how it was going before the Maester came in. He was kind of squeezing the ball against it, kind of making him suffer.
Sure, but then it also doesn't make sense, because when he Dracarys them in the field and he was the first person to get there, why wouldn't he finish the job then?
Well, I think he take out his knife or whatever. And
no, he picked it up off the ground, and Criston Cole was right behind him.
Yeah, so maybe he's like, I'll leave it.
Right.
Criston's here.
And how did Criston Cole not just cut Aemond's head off right there, because he knew, he watched it? All this stuff happened right above their heads. Like, why did it? Do you know what I mean? I feel like there's a lot of times,
but it's tough.
Where he's questioning like that.
I guess Cole was in shock.
Yeah, but I feel like it's easy. Yeah, looking up at the sky, it's easy probably to think, oh, he was going after Rhaenys.
That's a fair point.
And then hit him, collateral.
I feel like Cole is now starting to question Aemond as well. After the battle.
Well, Cole also likes to be the center of attention, and he's a big narcissistic bitch boy, and he really is. He's a brat, and he gets upset over the stupidest stuff, and he flies off the handle, and he gets very physical with people and all this other stuff. So he's really butthurt that he gets sent away. That's really what it is.
Yeah, Cole's against Aemond. Alicent's now. It seems like Larys is also against Aemond.
Oh, 100%.
It pretty much feels like his whole council, is against him,
and he's calling auto
because he can't be controlled.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie.
Aegon can be controlled.
He may, I don't know, Aemond. Someone may take out Aemond.
I think it's important when you're at the head of anything to like, you have to be able to make tough decisions on your own. But the whole point of having a council is because as individuals, we don't know everything, and so you need to have, that's why I say on the advice of counsel. I'm not gonna, because you need to have a different perspective, and the reality is the smartest leaders, in my opinion, throughout history. RJ, by the way, if you haven't already, go over to Essex Street Entertainment and subscribe to watch the Hungover History podcast with RJ Carreri and Mike McShane. Comes out every other week on their channel. If you haven't already subscribed here, subscribe and like the video too. Thanks, we appreciate it. But throughout history, and RJ, I'm sure you'll agree, the smartest leaders are the ones that admit that they're not the smartest people in the world, and they use their counsel to the best of their ability.
Yeah.
And seek advice from them to make an informed and rational decision.
They know their deficiencies.
Which, by the way, sometimes that means you drop the atomic bomb. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes the decision is to use Vhagar, is what I'm trying to say. But it's not always the decision.
Yeah.
And Aemond is just a loose cannon who doesn't give a shit what anybody else thinks. I'm very looking forward to Sunday, hopefully. But go ahead, RJ. What do you think?
Well, I was going to say on that note, let's kind of talk about the big plot line, which is kind of the main thing right now, which is the Dragon Riders. So we obviously had that Kingsguard guy.
Great scene.
I liked him.
Great scene.
I liked him.
Yeah. Good scene. Yeah, poor guy.
He's an honorable guy.
Chose him.
From a production standpoint, extremely difficult to shoot that scene, by the way, but very, very good, because those people are really on fire during that stuff, and it's very difficult.
Yeah. So obviously Rhaenyra is like, hey, you might have some Targaryen blood in you. Why don't you go try to tame? That was Seasmoke, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Seasmoke. Yep.
Doesn't work.
Yep.
He gets burned. It's a shame. Good guy.
Which we come on, we saw that coming. We saw that.
No, you knew
you can't just tame a dragon.
You knew he was going to get lit up.
Right.
You could. I mean, they just introduced that guy that episode. I'm like, yeah, this guy's gone.
Yeah.
So then we also flip back. So we're finally getting resolution with the Hull brothers, who are bastards of Corlys. I agree, Matt. I do like their characters.
Good guys.
It took a while for us to develop this. So then at the end of the episode, Seasmoke seeks out the younger brother because he probably senses the Valyrian blood. I get it. Cool. Still doesn't feel developed enough for me. Maybe now we're going to get it more. What did you guys think of that?
Yeah,
or this whole Dragon Riders thing in general.
I mean, I will say the Dragon Rider, I think that is actually kind of cool. Just the concept of like, there are these wild dragons that like could be tamed, and they could be like a huge asset to whoever like tames them. But it's kind of like up in the air, and it's like a huge risk. I think that is kind of cool. I don't know, man. I don't know what's gonna happen with this. You know what I mean? Because is he gonna definitely ride for Rhaenyra? This guy, you know what's going on? The sea snake's kind of been shafting him his whole life. You know what I mean? Now he is a dragon. Oh, come on home. Bring it in. I don't know. So I'm interested to see. I do think the Dragon Riders is, I think it's kind of a cool concept. Like, they can't just, they have to be tamed, so.
Yeah, just to put things in perspective, again, sorry from a production standpoint, but I live this shit. I love it. Those, every time there's a different camera angle, RJ knows this, they shoot these episodes with single camera. So every time there's a different camera angle, it's a new setup. I think they do a great job with the combination of practical and CGI, but when you have those stuntmen that, one, have to be dressed up like their character, and then they have to slather on this stuff all over them to protect them from being burned, and then they have to put on this other like cream, fuel basically that burns, and they can only be on fire for no more than 15 seconds. So they say, light them up, action, okay, do your thing, 15 seconds maximum, which means about 10 seconds in, people are running in there with extinguishers to light, to put things out. And if you really go back and watch that one scene, there's like 5 angles of these guys on fire. It's really well done.
I wouldn't be surprised if they had multi-cameras, though, for that.
Potentially, but I'm sure they did in that specific one, but like, it was really well done. I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I thought it was the concept of trying to tame the dragon and the brutal reality of, I don't understand why some people can and some people can't. That's the part that I don't get. If Rhaenyra
It's the
can
blood.
okay, but then and when we'll get into this when we talk about the comments, RJ too. But when we get into the whole thing about why do some people get burned and some people don't, like that's a stretch for me. Either everybody gets burned or everybody doesn't, and either it's difficult for everybody or it's not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's got to be a thing.
But we're dealing with dragons here, Nick.
I get that, but if there's no I've said this a million times, and I love when we argue, RJ. It's so much fun. Turns me on a little bit. Not gonna lie.
No, but I'm just saying you're talking about stretching it. We're talking about fictional.
I understand, but even in like Harry Potter, right? The whole thing is fictional, but there has to be rules. You have to have fictional rules, and there have to be things that because as our puny little real life primate brains, we have to have some. That's what makes things good. Well, you can't do that. This is why we have issues with Star Wars, all three of us, with everybody being force sensitive now. It used to be that the Jedi were sensitive if they had the midichlorian and all. Now it's like, oh, I got a tingle.
Yeah.
Now I'm force sensitive too.
Everyone
I made
and
the
their brother.
spoon move. It's a little much. That's all. When there's no rules and it's a free for all for everybody, it's a syndrome from The Incredibles. I say it every time. When everybody's super, nobody will be. That's the issue, and I just don't like that. There's no consistency, and it's very frustrating to watch as a viewer, especially from a perspective of somebody who hasn't read any of the books or anything like that. So that's my opinion. Oh, this is good. Dead air. That's good. Nobody talk anymore. Don't say anything.
Oh, well, I don't know.
Let's sit here for the rest of the episode like this. No,
Well, I really have to search my brain for things in this episode in particular.
Well, maybe if you got off your phone
obviously,
and watched it, it would have been easier
we
for
kind
you.
of, yeah, that's fair. Well, we built up a little bit more now to that guy and his family. I think his name's Hugh, the character. But
Best episode of Curb.
Obviously, that's building up to Rhaenyra helping out, and now she's going to gain the support of the Smallfolk. Cool. I will say some of these little cuts to these other characters, though, they feel like the showrunner's like, hey, don't forget about this person.
Yeah, they're just throwing him
like
a scene.
Viserys's bastard in the bar. Like that scene did nothing. All it said was, hey, remember this guy from that episode? Yeah, just keep him in the back of your mind. I get that they're setting up things, but like there's a way to do it. Just because these characters exist in the story, like doesn't mean you get a pass on shit writing and developing them.
Yeah, I feel like they were doing that even earlier in the season. Like they would like one, it'd be like one scene an episode. They would have Corlys and Rhaenys kind of like chopping it up. It'd be like, hey, like they love each other. You know what I mean? Before
right.
Before Rhaenys like dies, that like wouldn't do anything.
Right.
No, I feel like there have been a lot of those scenes. Which
Corlys has a bastard as well, right?
he's got two, the brothers.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay,
Yeah.
and then one of them saved his life.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's that guy.
Yeah,
and
and
that's
the
the one that Rhaenys put the hand on the face, right?
Yes, and then the other brother's
great moment there.
The brother's like, yo, why are you mad? Like this is great. This could be huge for us. Like we could finally.
And then he goes, well, for you anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought that was good.
I think those guys seem like they have a good head on their shoulders. Hardworking guys.
Yeah, but Corlys doesn't like them because they're bastards. He doesn't give them the time of day.
Well, maybe now. You know what I mean? Who knows?
But like, I feel like if they had, for example, if say this new season started out and you followed them and like they developed them more, you kind of didn't know what their deal was. Like maybe they showed him saving Corlys.
Yeah.
Right.
And you develop this character out so that when the dragon chooses him, you actually give a shit.
Well, yeah, I feel like Game of Thrones
like
did a good job at that. Like I remember watching season 2 of Game of Thrones. It might have been the first scene of the episode. I know it was the first episode, definitely. They like introduced Stannis and like the Red Woman. And there's this whole scene on the beach and that guy speaks up and like he dies. And I just remember thinking, the fuck's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of weird. And then they build Stannis up that whole season. Literally the entire season, they build up Stannis and the thing with Renly and everything. And then you have that big the Blackwater episode 9, where it's kind of like, all right, you understand like Stannis, where he's coming from, what's going on. You're almost rooting for him, to be honest, because the Lannisters have been dicks to the Starks.
Sure.
And you're very familiar with what's going on in King's Landing, where it's like it's a big, huge battle that feels earned.
Well, and that's the thing is I feel like none of this is earned. I don't care about Corlys's kids. I don't care about anything because I don't know who to follow.
It's definitely. I'll say this. I don't know if it's the showrunner's fault, but it's. I don't think me or like anyone is definitely not as invested as I was in Thrones. Like at this point, you know, like I loved
I was gonna
Ned
say,
after 2 episodes. Like I'm like, this is my guy.
Well, and
you know?
speaking of, and I don't know, RJ, you go because I have something to say about Ned. But go ahead.
no, just to your last point, if you're a lot of the book readers will come out and they'll say, this is why these people are important.
Sure.
I get it. If they're supposed to be important, then make them important. Make us care about them. And they haven't done that. So
Right.
that's what I want to say on that.
Man, I want to love it so bad.
Thank you for saying that, RJ.
I want to love it so bad. Like I really, you know what I mean?
What I'm
Well, and
saying.
that's
I
the
don't
thing.
enjoy this.
Yeah,
I want to love it
right.
so bad, dude. Like
That's what it is.
I really just want it to be banging on.
Not just for this either, you know. It's like it's a great show. If we weren't doing this podcast, we would still probably text each other and be like, "Yo, did you see that? That was dope. Like that was really good," you know. But the fact of the matter is, it's like it's appointment television, and I feel like you're wasting my Sundays.
Well, it's not terrible, but like, man, I feel like you get the Game of Thrones moniker. You know what I mean? House of the Dragon. It's season 1 was so good. I feel like my expectations were kind of high. You know,
and
well, that's the thing. When you set the bar so high, it's like Game of Thrones. You can only go lower than that, or you match it.
Yeah,
right. Which I think season 1 did a good job of matching. Okay,
yeah,
I'll say that. You know, and I'm not. I promise I am not getting political here, but like the fact that there is more interesting shit going on in real life right now. in you know, politically speaking or whatever it is, as opposed to the fake world with fucking dragons is a little annoying if you think about it. For 30 million a week, 30 million an episode, it's a little like, are you kidding me? This is the best you can come up with. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's all it
You're
is.
not wrong.
And you know, I'm frustrated. But okay, so I had a question for both of you about regarding not Ned specifically, but the North. We saw that little thing with Jace in one of the episodes in the beginning.
I like that scene.
I liked it too. We haven't seen anything from the North yet.
Yeah.
He has these gray people. Is that what he was saying? Gray men, gray people, something like
the
that.
older guys. He's gonna send them.
Yeah,
some
the
older
old guy. Yeah, the graybeards.
The graybeards. That's what it is. Where the hell have they been? And when are they coming in?
I think I read something that Stark is not even going to be in the rest of the season.
Great. That's a
prime example of why did we open the season with this scene?
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I was going to say, I think it's a good moment to transition into one of these comments because Eden was talking about kind of the ensemble aspect and the differences between Game of Thrones.
What did she say, RJ? Read that comment.
So we asked Eden, because she has read the books, do you think 4 seasons is too much or too little, however? And she said 4 seasons would be perfect, and the stuff they're setting up now will pay off till the last season. The issue is that they haven't made this an ensemble show like Game of Thrones. By making Rhaenyra, Alicent, and Daemon mains, they're not developing characters like Jace, who has a whole storyline in the North, till episode 4. So that's literally what we were just saying.
That's a good point. I feel like Game of Thrones, even the side if you want to call them like tier B characters,
sure,
were thoroughly developed and like you cared about. Like a guy like Theon, like he wasn't a tier 1, but he was like maybe a tier B character, but he was very well developed from like day 1. Even like if you guys remember, like Jon obviously became like the star of the show. But like seasons 1 and 2, like they developed him, but he wasn't. I mean, if you said like pick like the stars of the show with the most screen time, Jon, I don't know if he'd be in the top 3. Until like later on, they kind of build it up until it's like their moment. You know what I mean?
Well, that's with like Rhaenyra. Like they're not. If she doesn't have anything to do, don't show her.
She's been making bad decisions too all season.
Dude, she hasn't been making any decisions.
She's sleeping with the help. She's making.
But I think Game of Thrones, though, like you said, they weren't afraid to not show a character.
Yeah.
Like Bran was not in an entire season. It's like if there's no story for this character, then let's focus on the people that matter until there is.
It was kind of cool too, because like then they'd come back and be like, "Oh shit, he's back." You know what I mean?
Right.
And then they've done some shit, and but like you said, a lot was happening like between that time. So it was, it was kind of cool.
I forgot. I'm so excited and glad that we're spending time to explore Rhaenyra's sexuality. I think that this entire season has really been building up to that. I think that was a great
I'm not gonna. They were hugging for a little bit, and I thought in my head, is this just me or is this a long hug?
But
and then they started at the neck.
This isn't a homophobic thing.
And
I just think, what are we doing? Who cares? I don't give a shit.
Right. No,
I like
I
when
don't
RJ
either. Like, and this is my point about. I like when RJ gets upset.
I was gonna say,
It's
I like when
very
RJ
nice
gets mad.
because he's so calm. So when he does get upset, it's like a
It
moment.
makes me happy.
It's like Bran coming back.
See,
in
now
an
I'm
episode.
now I'm happy.
Yeah, no, but like the fact of the matter is that like when it was Corliss's kid, Corlys and Rhaenys kid that was gay.
Laris, is that it? No, Loras.
Yeah, it had plot. It had stakes.
Sorry, I don't know.
Oh,
Right, but it
who?
also
Laenor?
Laenor.
But it had its own. It was done very well. I don't know how to explain it. It was a whole side character thing. It was, important, I would say, because of the need to get married and to have side people. What in this season we're not looking at this is the frustrating part. Season 1 is about the politics of who takes over after the king dies. That's what happens. The king is clearly getting sick.
Everyone's going for
We
the
need
throne.
to set everybody up for the throne taking. Rhaenyra needs to get married.
Succession plan.
The thing that makes that dramatic is that she has to marry a gay guy. The thing that makes that dramatic is that they don't accept the being gay, so you have to have this secret life. That makes it a very interesting story. But we've seen it, and now we're in a wartime where dragons, the show is called House of the fucking Dragon. We're in a middle of a war. Why do I need to explore anybody's sexuality right now? This is a wartime. We're in crisis mode, and this is a very hot-tempered environment, but we're going to waste 15, 20 minutes of an episode or whatever it is exploring or seeing these different moments. Like I don't need it. I don't. You're right, RJ.
On a character too that's not in the book. Masari is a creation of the show.
Oh, she's not in the book.
See, that's fucking wild to me.
And she sucks. To me, it's like the writers are using her to do all. Rhaenyra hasn't made a decision. Jace has made decisions, and Masari has done things for Rhaenyra.
I think Jace
is great.
Jace might be my favorite character.
Yeah,
I think Jace is my favorite character.
He reminds me of
anything.
He reminds me of like a Baratheon kind of like that strong.
Well, he's got the same stoic. He's always looking off. He's got the.
Well, look at Jon Snow. Jon Snow is very stoic.
That kid, that actor nailed that face. They said, just do this face.
Yeah.
And he does it every scene. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny
man.
because it can come off a little bit bratty because he's the kid, but he's a
good prince. Perfect prince.
All of the characters or all of the actors, there's not any bad acting in the show.
No.
Team Jace.
Except Massaria.
Which one is she? Is she the one that has the accent?
Yeah, she makes out with Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it means nothing to me. It doesn't do anything. And it's cheap. It feels real. You know what it is? That's what it is, RJ. That's what it is. It feels cheap. It feels like
It does. It feels like a cop-out.
Yep.
Watching Rhaenyra this season, would you say she'd make a good queen?
No.
I don't think so. She can't make a fucking decision.
Dude, to be honest, like after season 1, you're like Rhaenyra, like she's great, but dude, this season she's making terrible moves.
And they show her like kind of cowering away from the dragon
she literally said, "I can't win this war," to like one of her advisors. No, she's been not good, and since she lost just bad decisions. Team Rhaenyra, I don't know.
What I think would be very interesting if there was a way, and I don't know how they would do this, but if you're gonna do all this sneaking around bullshit into the Red Keep, why hasn't anybody snuck over to Vhagar and like slit his throat? Why hasn't anybody tried to attack Vhagar? Not during battle, I'm saying. Why haven't they done any sort of sneaking thing?
I think the move is,
Kingsguard guys saw that.
I think the move for team is you take out Aemond like when he's not with Vhagar.
Yeah.
Then I feel like that's the big move because then they're down to, who knows what happens with Vhagar. But I think that's
speaking of the dragons, because you mentioned Baratheons.
That's right.
No, I could be wrong,
but that's fine.
No, I took credit for it.
Sorry.
I could have.
Don't the Baratheons have like a decent amount of Targaryen blood? Don't they address that in Game of Thrones?
That's the wrong guy. Maybe, sure.
Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, are the Baratheons?
Because I feel like that would be interesting. Because then you could have a potential dragon rider and a Baratheon if they brought them in. I'd love to see a Baratheon.
I like the Baratheons. That's
that was kind of a side
good,
note.
Strong bloodline.
I really loved Rob Baratheon. I thought he was hilarious.
Oh,
I thought he was a big gluttonous
he's a great
fool.
guy. He was.
I just thought he was awesome.
He just became king. He's like, fuck it. You know, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna get fat and happy.
When I see when I saw
Oh.
Ned and Rob Baratheon, Ned Stark and Rob Baratheon
Chopping it
interacting
up.
together, it's how I want to interact with
Yeah.
RJ in 30 years. You
They
know what I
just
mean?
chop it.
Like I loved that.
They
I
just
thought it was
went through
great.
it kind of at the back end. They just
They were friends. Maybe one's more, but like it was
Yeah.
like chill, and they could talk to each other like humans as opposed to like
Yeah.
yo Grace
Yeah,
and like
yeah,
all this
yeah.
other shit. They'd be like Ned would look at him and be like, Rob, what are you doing, dude? You
Yeah,
know,
like,
I
shut the
loved
fuck
it.
up. Yeah.
I loved that, and it made them human. You
Yeah.
know,
No, those were
Um,
good scenes, man. Those were good. Mark Addy, he's awesome.
really, really great.
So Robert Baratheon has Targaryen blood through his mother, so that
Okay.
wouldn't count because the dad's lineage probably doesn't. So never mind.
Yeah, no, it's fair.
What
I don't know, man.
about
I
these
guess
other comments you want to talk about?
Yeah, let's talk. Go ahead. Yeah. So who else?
All right. So the other 3 comments from Strega46.
Streganana.
Is this a new commenter?
Yeah, new comment.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yes. So one answer to a question we were asking last time: a witch casted a spell on Daenerys. That's why she didn't burn.
Thank you for
So
that. We
thank you
appreciate
for the
that.
Makes
clarification.
sense. I
there.
remember that. Actually.
If you read the book, you will know that they are building up something, and future episodes will be the Dance of the Dragons. Again, I understand that they're setting things up. I just think
They're going
they
about
could
it
be
wrong.
doing this better.
Yeah.
And then she said, or he, I don't know. Did you even notice how they showed the aftermath of the Dragon War? The free folk suffer. Yeah, we got that. Also, the dragon seeds they are trying to introduce to us. Check. Jace securing the twins. Corlys grieving. Visenya reference. Okay, so understand completely. But in the way that they're just listing this is kind of how I feel like the show is. They're like
Correct.
passing over each of these things. They're showing us and they're not expanding it. Viserys grieving, they opened the episode, he was like staring down at the ground, and then that was it.
Yeah.
And then he got the hand of the king. And I don't think did he
Corlys.
speak this episode?
Corlys, I think
I don't think so.
Corlys, you had that one scene with
With the Hull guy?
he's like, hey, I want you to be my first mate. You know?
Right.
It's a great honor.
Yeah. But
I
nothing
love
about
Corlys. I actually really like
I
Corlys.
mean,
I don't see that's
So-
the thing is like I like these characters. I like Rhaenyra, but I
Yeah.
don't like what she's doing.
Yeah, she's making bad
You know,
moves.
it's like they're changing up. I don't know, man.
and just to finish this comment, so
Go ahead.
she said, or he, I don't know if I could, they will later on be a big, I keep saying she because the picture's a woman.
Oh, okay, could be she.
Don't worry, Corlys will be an extremely vital character in House of the Dragon. But you
I hope
gotta
so.
like
When?
build up to
When
that.
is this gonna happen? Like,
And to your point again, Matt, Jon Snow,
Thank you.
he didn't become big till later,
comment.
but you still kind of develop that character
Yeah.
out in some intrigue and
No, dude,
Yeah.
you were still interested. Like they would have moments, and then like when his time kind of came,
right.
I think they really elevated John after Rob died. I think then you really, but they were also
Yeah.
like building to it. It wasn't like all of a sudden like 0 to 100. It was kind of like a steady build up, you know, because he had the shit with Egret growing on, you know, and then kind of once Rob died, it was like you kind of passed the torch to John as the number one with Daenerys.
Right. Well, this is what I'm concerned about with regard to Corlys now is that he's not in any of the episodes. He has boring, mundane conversations when he is in the episode. And then all of a sudden he's going to be the star of the show. And that's going to be a problem for me. You know what I mean? Because he hasn't been built up the right way.
Yeah.
We don't know anything
Well,
about him. We
I
don't
think
follow
it
his
is-
story. We don't know where he's been.
Yeah. Sea snake.
it is kind of funny that they like every time they cut to the Hull guys, they're like in the same place. They're just on that ship.
Working on the
How
ship.
many ropes can we move around? A lot of boxes
That's it.
going
There's
on
a lot-
the
it's
ship. Not
a
a lot
long-
going on.
It's a long process to build
I
the
guess
ship.
so. Get some more guys. Imagine me being the guy who's like directing,
Yeah.
not directing like in a movie sense,
Yeah.
but if I was like in charge of that ship,
Like,
I'd
hey,
be
put
like,
that there.
what are we doing? Get all the crap. Everybody's
Yeah.
like lounging around. They move a box. You see people in the background with ropes and everything else. What are we doing? Where are we going? What are we
No, but
prepping for?
If this was Game of Thrones, we 100% would have seen Corlys get saved by his son.
I don't know why we
You know
didn't.
what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that
just
would have been
mentioned in
good.
passing.
That would have been good. Yeah, well,
And again, why do we have 8 episodes?
yeah, it could have been 10.
I just feel like the time management of this season has been bad.
It's fair.
Like, again, with the Damon stuff, we're wasting a ton of time.
And-
So they could flesh these things out, but they're just not choosing it well.
I agree. And like, listen, I'm gonna judge it as a whole after the season. You know, I hate shit because like it's, you know, you look back on it as a whole, but like, you know, we got to do an episode now today. And as of today, this is, I feel like this is how we feel,
Sure. Yeah.
know?
Like I said, I didn't. That's my exact point with the Crab King episode from season 1. When we did the episode, I was like, "What are we doing?" You guys convinced me. Whatever. Looking back, I feel like it was a good episode. It wasn't bad. And who doesn't like a battle episode? Whatever. But like, I don't know.
As of today, is this how you feel?
Today, I'm not reading the books. You're not going to ever convince me to start picking up a book midway through a season. And I'm just not a fast enough reader. Yeah. Sorry, it's just not my bag.
That's an after the fact. Yeah.
And listen, if the books are the only thing that matters, they wouldn't make a TV show out of it. They made the show. The show is what matters right now, anyway. And I would submit to both of you and to the viewers, hopefully, that more than just me watching this back. No, but I would submit to the viewers that like we're not really following the books at this point when we start doing things like sneaking into the Red Keep and holding a knife to Alicent. You know what I mean? Like we're not. It's a different story. So if they had just followed the books, like they did for Harry Potter, the first movie, when they just followed Sorcerer's Stone and they literally used the book on set and said, "No, this part is where he says this." Like they used the book as the script,
but
which I thought was dope.
Way different though.
No, I get that, but I'm saying had they done that, then I would understand commenters who talk about things like, "Well, if you read the books, it doesn't work for me." This is a different medium altogether. It's visual storytelling. The way that they're going about it. If the book is anything like the series, the way that it is, I'd put the book down chapter 2. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If the book was written the same exact way that the series is portrayed on TV, it wouldn't be an interesting book either. You wouldn't be able to get through it. Why would you keep reading? You go, this is fucking boring.
The thing is like for Game of Thrones, the first season of Game of Thrones is one entire 800-page book. This entire series is one, I don't know how many 900 pages.
Yeah, I think
they have to
that's a problem.
Fill in. Yeah, the writers have to fill in, and they're not filling in well.
Yeah. I just don't understand why the seasons are so short, and I don't understand why they would change anything at all from the book, if it didn't help explain things better.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
I mean, but the book, like the best way to compare it, Nick, is like if you're reading a history textbook.
Okay.
So if you're about this happening versus Game of Thrones, you had a narrative novel with dialogue and scenes like that. The book for this doesn't have that.
Okay.
So they're basically listing off events, so it's
summary.
not like Harry Potter where they had every scene out.
Expelliarmus.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a shitty
so
book.
Like George R.R. Martin wrote it as a fictional history book.
Jesus Christ.
You know what's pretty cool? Before the episode, I don't know if you watched the previews, the Benny Gesserit little preview.
Oh, yeah, that looks great.
Cool.
Dune Prophecy.
Yeah, I like Dune. I like the universe of Dune. I don't really... You know why I like Dune? Because I'm confused. I don't really know what's going on.
I'll tell you this much. I'm confused about House of the Dragon.
But yeah.
Not to turn up, but go ahead. Yeah, no. What are you confused about?
I'm confused. I don't know what's going on, so I kind of like it. I just accept everything they tell me because I don't know any better.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
I kind of like that, just being in that delusion.
Well, that was like House of the Dragon season 1. That's like Game of Thrones season 1.
That was Game of Thrones season 1, like season 1, 2, 3. Like I just accepted everything because I had no idea who anyone was.
Sure.
What the hell's going on? I just accepted it, and it was kind of cool.
Yeah, I think that's. I
miss that.
But I think when authors and or producer writers, people, when they just expect you to just go with it, I think that makes them a little lazy.
Yeah, I just think the expectation is so high. You know what I mean? So like now, like people know, like not to just accept.
RJ's done.
You know what I mean?
Just got off.
I don't blame him.
He left.
You know what I mean?
He's gone.
He's got a package. No, I don't blame him. There he is.
I'm back. I'm pulling up examples.
Oh, okay.
But you get what I'm saying though, RJ, right? With all this stuff, like it's just not done right.
Yo, I'm with you.
Yeah.
No, I'm trying to, because I actually have the book here. I haven't read it, but I'm trying to get like an idea of how
it looks nice on the
it's
show.
actually written.
Wait, when did you get the book?
I've had it.
You're not going to read it?
I might honestly read it after
Read a passage.
Yeah, read a passage.
Why don't you bless us with the passage?
Like a gospel.
I'm trying to...
and we're gonna snap transition to when RJ finds the thing he's looking for.
Yeah, like here, so this is one thing. The Fourth Dornish War was fought and won in a single day. The pirates of the Stepstones. Like it's like just saying things. It's not explaining that entire day. It's just saying this happened. You know what I'm saying?
I like doing.
So my question would be, why the hell would you make this into a series then? It might even be funnier if they created all AI, and this is coming from me, I hate AI, but I'm just saying if they made all AI images like you would see in a history textbook, and then just did each episode like a Ken Burns documentary with his images just zooming it, cross-dissolve transition to the next one. I might even watch it with a narrator who's just reading the book. It might make more sense to me. I don't know.
But there's clearly a story there. You just have to get competent and capable writers that are able to fill in the blanks well. And I think it's tough because George is such a good writer that it's hard to match him.
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Okay, so let's talk about this week coming up, episode 7. We only got 2 episodes left. Does a battle happen? I don't think they really did. They set us up for a battle at the end of this one, really?
Well, so he's going to Harrenhal, Criston Cole, and Aemond's like, "I'll meet you there when the time's right."
So
and then Rhaenyra, who knows where Rhaenyra's going? That was kind of like the cliffhanger.
I will say, earlier in the season, at the end of episode 4 was the battle.
Yeah.
Episode 3, at the end of episode 3, we knew that there was going to be some shit hitting the fan in the next episode. I don't get that feeling this time.
Episode 7, I think they might do what you said, is episode 7 have a battle, and then episode 8
tie it up.
Exposition. The aftermath.
Do you think Daemon and Aemond face off at the season finale?
That might be it. I think they're kind of leading up to that because Daemon's just been like, eating.
Are they though? He's just been high the whole time.
Yeah,
he's been on an acid trip for like 6 weeks now.
I don't know. I do think there's gonna be a meetup, a shakeup at Harrenhal. I don't know that. I haven't read anything.
Yeah.
But that's just if I had to guess.
RJ, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I mean, I watched the teaser. It seemed heavy on Rhaenyra seeking out Seasmoke and finding out why he sought out one of Corlys's bastards. I'm sure she'll find out. Or they'll spend 3 episodes and having her try to find out that he's Corlys's bastard. I don't know.
We only have 2. There's only 8 episodes.
Yeah.
So
true.
So 7 and 8. You see
or
what
maybe
I'm saying?
they won't even develop it this season.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like I just don't get it. And then what? We're supposed to wait another 3 years and be just as excited when it comes back for season 3? Like, come on, man.
No, I am worried because I already know that this season got less viewership than the first season. And like, if they're not keeping that momentum going, like, it's even going to go down for the next one too.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
all right. Any final thoughts? Thank you for commenting, guys. Please leave your thoughts down below.
Yeah,
we will address them on the show. If what we're saying is controversial or wrong, let us know. We don't give a shit. Like, tell us. So we're a bunch of fucking idiots.
And if you're enjoying it, I'm happy for you.
If you're enjoying the show, I feel bad for you. And there's a lot of great TV out there that you should be watching instead of this. But if you, if you like us and you like to complain, only comment down below if you completely agree with what we're saying. No, I'm just kidding. We love battling it out, and we appreciate it. Listen, we're not 100% right. We're just going by what we see. And
I'm wrong most of the time.
I'll admit I'm never wrong, but I understand what it's like to be wrong because I'm live in a world full of people that are usually wrong.
There you go. There it is.
No, I appreciate the comments always. Like the video, subscribe. Anything else, boys? Anything interesting that you want to talk about? We can fill up a couple minutes. RJ?
No.
That's it.
No, I'm declining to comment.
Okay. On the advice of counsel.
Yeah.
We'll be here next week.
Yeah, we'll be here next week. Maybe we'll be all 3 of us just dead bodies laying there like this.
Could happen.
Who knows?
It could happen.
But we'll be here every Friday, 6 p.m. Enjoy it. House of the Dragon is on Sundays at 9 p.m. Wherever you are, streaming on HBO Max. You should watch it. Watch along with us, then watch reviews and leave your comments and thoughts below. Hungover History Podcast is every other week on Essex Street Entertainment's channel, starring RJ and Mike McShane. Please go over there and subscribe and watch and comment down below how they're telling history incorrectly and or correctly.
New episode, Operation Paperclip.
Yep.
Check it out.
We love it. We love it. It's great stuff. We appreciate it. Thanks, RJ.
How you doing?